Today on the show, strategy plus action equals innovating your marketing with data. Success in business and life is a constant back and forth of charting your course and taking the consistent steps every day to move you forward. Both are critical. My guests on this show range from hardworking entrepreneurs starting from scratch to visionary leaders of cutting-edge companies looking to scale. I help you understand the strategies that are working for them and the actions you can take to model their success. For me, a show like this is all about joining forces with my guests to dig deep and create something new for you. Whether that's a small insight to get you unstuck or a path of massive growth through customized marketing and creative sales initiatives. Welcome to Strategy in Action. Welcome to episode 26 of Strategy and Action. I'm excited to bring you this interview with JP Clement. He is the CEO of Boomtime, and they are a digital marketing agency who is really approaching digital marketing in a couple of unique ways. One is the way they approach it with data. They're very data centric in everything they do, from the time a client comes on board all the way through a campaign, through 6 months down the road to the end of a client engagement and really digging into a postmortem on it. And it's the way they approach it, and some of the insights that I got just blew me away. So be on the lookout for those. And then second, their internal proprietary software that they have called Fuse. It's both a marketing differentiator, which we get into, but also it just helps them run their entire agency as efficiently as they do, that they just wouldn't be able to otherwise. So it's very impressive. And we just have a blast talking. I had the good fortune to connect with JP on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago. We had a big long conversation then, just because I think two marketing nerds kind of geeking out and talking through everything. So really impressed with him and the agency and what they're building over there. So let's jump in to this episode. JP, welcome.
Thanks, Jason. I'm glad to be here.
Oh yes, this is going to be a blast. We had the good fortune to just connect on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago and have a great conversation. I think two marketing geeks, geeking out on all that great topic. And I really wanted to have you on. You're the CEO of Boomtime, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what you're doing over there, I think that's really what caught my attention, and really wanted to dig in and have that conversation we had the other day, which is really fascinating. And then to have you on the show specifically to talk about the integration of data and marketing. And not that it's a brand new concept or anything, but I think it's something that's really critical to good high-level marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also counter to how a lot of folks operate with their marketing, because so much of marketing is the creative and the idea and everything. So I want to dig deep into all that. But first, give folks a little bit of a background of Boomtime and your specialty there.
Yeah, so Boomtime, we're a digital marketing agency, but I say usually with a twist, because we do things a little bit differently from typical agencies. So we're all about scalability and efficiency, and also doing great marketing by being very disciplined. And we'll talk about how we can get disciplined with data, I think, a little bit later, obviously. But we do so. We built our own marketing platform called Fuse, that we use to basically make sure we do the right thing at the right time. Digital marketing and marketing in general is actually a very disciplined kind of endeavor. And so we use Fuse to do this, to do our marketing in a very deliberate manner. And we also actually use Fuse to increase our efficiency, so we can price ourselves at a level that is affordable for small and medium-sized businesses.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that was interesting too. Honestly, prices are there on the site. You really are priced amazingly, competitively and everything with all of that. Who's your ideal as far as client in terms of size, type, business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we focus on trying to help B2B businesses mostly. So think like a smallish addressable market and high CLV, but we also have some B2C clients that have the same kind of profile. So they're B2C clients that look like B2B clients, and we do companies between, let's say, $3 million in sales to 50 million. So that's kind of our sweet spot, and we have a lot of clients in the professional services industry, and so think law firms, CPA firms, financial institutions, things like that. And we have a lot of B2B tech companies, so tech companies that sell to other companies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I notice a language that's used at several points in your site there is around empowering your clients, empowering small businesses.
Yep.
And my guess is that the answer to this kind of, really feeds into our topic that we're going to talk about today. But how are you doing that? That's different. That's a really specific choice of words there.
Yeah, so this is something that, the kind of culture that I've been trying to implement at Boomtime since I've been there. And it's a culture of transparency, as you described before. Our prices are on our website, but it's also a culture of education. Of education, really. The digital marketing space is complicated. We'll talk probably about that a little bit more too. And it's kind of daunting. If you're in another business, that's trying to get into digital marketing, there is a lot of types of digital marketing that you can do. So we spend a lot of time educating, and we do that by we educate people who are not even our customers. But we also do educate our clients, of course. But we generate a lot of content. We have our own podcast, as we talked about. We write a lot of articles, white papers, and we distribute these via LinkedIn. We have a really large email list. And so we really are focused on trying to help people figure out this digital marketing world. And we also kind of, because this digital marketing world is so complicated, we do combine those elements, different types of digital marketing subcategories together, because we've looked at the data. We know what works together specifically for clients that have pain points that can be solved by these different things. So instead of looking at one type of digital marketing there and just doing that, right, or looking at that one there, it's this idea of like the synergies that you can get through different types of digital marketing brought into packages.
From our conversation the other day, I really like the approach that you have, and what you just went through there is that you have a very diagnostic approach to these businesses when you talk about it, rather than, hey, we're a Facebook ads agency, come on over, and somebody comes to you for marketing, is like, yep, Facebook ads. You're like, ooh, you don't even know what we do yet, And so do you really kind of, as far as services and what you're doing specifically, does it run the gamut to just every type of service, just depending on the fit?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we do anything under the sun in digital marketing, except probably not. We don't do a lot of influencer marketing, which is yet another subcategory of digital marketing. But everything else we do, and again, it's we have a lot of knowledge on our team, and and we've talked to a lot of different people. So when we meet a new client or prospect, we talk about what their we ask a lot of questions, right? We want to understand what their position is, and whatever. So then we can build we already have a package ready for them that's going to work. But if not, we can just take all these different elements that we've been doing for working on for years and put them together, so it creates that perfect little recipe for them that's going to solve the issues that they have.
Oh, that's great. And so we'll start down this road a little bit too, of the lovely topic of data, right? and that's sort of, and I think that's the first entry point, for your client into that side of things, because you've got to start approaching from the very beginning of what are the numbers that they're going through, that they're seeing, but also what you're bringing to the table in terms of here's what we've seen in your industry.
Mhm.
Here's what converts. So already that's coming into play. And for me, you know, the last thing you're going to hear from me is let's talk data, because that's just me. But I'll always follow that up with, I know how absolutely critical and important it is. I just don't want to dig into the the back and forth. It's just a personality type. I want the idea and let's get creative and let's have the fun. So that's why it's a good, partnership when I can, partner with someone who's the data side of things. First off, at a high level, how do you balance that internally? Is it separate? You kind of have that same, bipolar aspect a little bit within your people. Like, here's our creative folks, here's our data folks interacting. How does that play out?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I not really thought about that in those terms. And actually, it's interesting because my personality is very split in the middle, too. One part of me is very creative and one part of me is very data-driven. And marketing was a perfect place, actually, for me to bring these two things together. That's why I got into marketing business school. Look, our team is all our marketers have to understand data and analytics, and they have to feel comfortable with them. That's a non-negotiable for me. But we have also, and they have to be good at managing clients, good at doing marketing strategy. And we have a creative team that just does, all the graphics, the websites, the pure creativity kind of stuff. But for me, to do the right type of creative and to be creative, you need to look at the data. And the data is not just, analytics from Google Analytics or Facebook Insights or things like that. It's also, market research, primary research that you can do with your clients or your market. It could be, secondary research, all these white papers and studies done all over the time. But understanding all that data is super critical to creating the right campaigns and the right strategy. And if you don't do that first, you can be really creative. I mean, you can be creative, of course, but it's not going to be the right type of creativity and the right results. So yeah. That's why my strategists, that's what we call our marketing people. I have to be, I have to understand data, I have to be able to look at data and decide what the best solution is for our clients.
Yeah, that's a great point, because certainly with my mind, where my mind goes with marketing and data is the after, right? Like, once you've created something and then you're testing it, you're A/B testing, what are the results? Mm-hmm. What are we getting? What are the numbers, the results? But to your point, data has to start way before then. What's working in the marketplace? What's the number? Who are we trying to reach? And a lot of that testing too, that comes back so much of the time, it's counterintuitive to the creative that you're thinking when you're going into this, right? Yeah.
I mean, what I love about data is that if you do it right, it uncovers all these different, thoughts and ideas and these different ways of doing marketing, right? That you wouldn't have even seen if you didn't look at the data. And so, that's why we start all our projects and the campaigns start with a strong strategic basis where we look at the data. We ask our clients hundreds of questions. Literally, we have in depth. We want to understand their business. We want to see what kind of data they have. In a lot of cases, they look at us like we have three heads, right? Because we're asking so many questions. But then we can educate them as to why it's important to do that kind of stuff. And then when we start a campaign, we set KPIs, right? To say, okay, this is how we're going to track our success. They're like, well, so we're like, what KPIs do you think are you interested in? And very often they have a hard time actually telling us what what those KPIs are. And we have, again, so more education, more hand holding, and that process of walking through all these different steps is really, really great, because first it creates a really interesting dynamic with the client. It shows the client what they don't know very often, and gets them thinking, and gets them gets them to look at the numbers, which they might have never done before. So it's it's the process actually takes care of all that education and that thing. And in the end, we start a campaign with some KPIs, and we track these KPIs on a continuous basis, and we report to our clients on these KPIs. We can see what's working, what's not working, can go back to them. So it's like literally from beginning, and at the end we do a postmortem, right? Say, okay, did it work? What's the ROI? I had a mentor years and years ago who told me, look, if you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. And I've lived by that since it's probably been 25 years or something like that. I've lived by that, because again, how can you know whether what you're doing is working if you don't have like a set of parameters that you like, or KPIs, right?
Right. You can't go on a vague feeling. You can't report your vague feeling back to the client.
Exactly.
We feel good about it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's working, right? Yeah. It looks good, right? Yeah. So that's the process that we follow. But you probably would not be surprised because we're talking about it. But it's something that a lot of our clients don't even know what their CLV is. Customer lifetime value. And in the B2B space, it's really critical, right? And we base a lot of our marketing campaigns on on cost per acquisition, right? Or cost per lead at least. So really important for us to be able to for ourselves, but also for our clients, to prove that what we're doing is working for them.
And that's such a great client experience. No matter how strenuous that question session and onboarding is, no matter how much in the middle of it, they're just like, I don't know, stop asking me. No matter how much they feel that, at the end of that, they feel like they're working with professionals. They're well taken care of. They're with somebody who knows what's going on. And I would imagine that leads to client retention as well, because now you're reporting on those things, and you're not just throwing things against the wall for a couple of months and hopefully they'll stay. You're really partnering with them on this.
Yeah, no, it does work. It's a lot of work, as you said, and some, but also, it's kind of a little bit of a rite of passage for us with our clients. We can say in the next, so our campaigns tend to be really long because, we spend so much time at the beginning upfront of a campaign that we need to recoup that effort, over a long period of time. But also because what we do tends to have, I always say, it's like gardening, right? You put a seed in, you water the seed, the plant grows, fruits start to appear, or flowers first, and then fruits and things like that. So it's a longer process. It's not like, we're just going to run a bunch of ads on Google and we're done, right? We don't like to work on this kind of campaigns. I mean, we do it if we have to. If the client thinks that's the right thing and we think it's the right thing, we will do it, and we have done it many times. But we can see during that onboarding process that which clients are going to be good clients for us, because some just, even after that onboarding process, they still ask the wrong questions. They still not, you can tell that there's some friction or whatever, and we're like, okay, well, we know we can do a good job for them, but that's probably not a long-term client. So it's a little bit of a dating before getting married, right?
Right. And what are some of those wrong questions? Are they much more just transactional minded? Run an ad, get an ROI, whereas what you're trying to build is more long-term branding plus an ROI down the road.
Yeah, so we do a lot of content marketing, a lot of email marketing, social media marketing, and these kinds of things. And these kinds of things, they don't generate results instantly, right? Like an ad, they take time to mature and grow, as I was describing. So yeah, a lot of our clients, the more difficult clients are the ones that say, oh, I want to do Google Ads. And we're like, okay, we can do that, but look, it's not the right thing. And then 3 months later, we're like, what about those Google Ads? And so some of them don't really listen, maybe have a very set mind frame that they have a really hard time getting out of. And our best clients are clients who are willing to learn with us, right? Because look, we don't claim we know a lot. It's like the farmer's ad, right? We've been through a lot, we've done a lot, we've seen a lot, but at the same time, every client is kind of different at some point. And so
sure,
those clients that we work really well with are those who are very open-minded, know what they don't know, and are working with us, not just looking to us and just listen, but asking the right questions, interacting with us, willing to test things, to try things. The beauty of digital marketing, right, is that you can try something, and then if it doesn't work in a month, then you can switch to something else, right? You can see the results and measure the results of what you do very easily and at a pretty incredible level of depth if you want to. So those clients are the clients that we work really well with, that are very happy with us, that come back and refer people to us and all that, because they've taken the time to create that openness of mind and that thinking, right, and that strategizing.
Oh yeah, and then you have the numbers to put back in front of them all along the way, whether they're feeling good or not. Here's the data. Here's what's up. And what's just for our audience's sake too, what are some of the numbers? Obviously, it depends on the KPIs you're establishing with each client, but what are some of those typical things that you're testing kind of beforehand and during?
Yeah, so it really depends, because we do a lot of different types of digital marketing. But for instance, I'll give you some examples. So we do for LinkedIn campaigns, right? It's called our Connect package, and we basically we have our own software that we use to really create a lot of connections. We're still within the LinkedIn kind of framework, right?
Sure.
And rules of engagement, which are pretty tight. So it automates kind of like the creation of connections. We can do some very, very deep type of searches to make sure we get exactly the right target for our clients to connect with. And then we have a whole color coding system, so you can classify your leads. And then we have a dashboard that shows them. They tell us, okay, well, these blue leads, right? They're kind of called. A cold lead like that for us is worth X, right? And we put all of that in the system. And so they have a dashboard that tells them, okay, this is your percent of connections. This is the percent, and there is a whole messaging system that goes on. So how many people you've messaged back and forth with. This is how many you have in each of these buckets. And this is what value has been generated by this campaign. Okay.
Fantastic.
So it's one dashboard. So when we track that, so for instance, I have some disagreements in my team, but we shoot for a connection rate of about 30 to 40%. Okay, so of 100, you can do 100 a day today on LinkedIn. So if we send 100 connection requests a day, we're expecting to actually connect through 30 or 40 of these. And then our messaging rates is probably 20%. That's our target. Mm-hmm. Some campaigns because we can target exactly, we ended up on the right messaging, then we can literally get a 50% connection rate or 30%
wow.
kind of messaging rate and so on. And so we have a client in Canada right now that he's loving it so much that they had to hire extra salespeople because we kept generating a ton of high quality leads. And I think in the first 6 months with them, we generated $500,000, over $500,000 of value, of lead value. Right. So we've put in their CRM system, because we tie also to CRM systems, customer relationship management system like Salesforce or HubSpot or Pipedrive. So we we push all these people into their system, and and so, but if you look at our rates for these packages on our website, it's the ROI is in the thousands of percent. So we do that for everything, right? All our products, if we send emails, we look obviously at the open rates, the click-through rates. We use all kinds of software to look at Hotjar to see where the hotspots are on what people click on our emails, which then we create emails for and articles for our clients that are based on a lot of SEO data. So we look at what keywords in their industry, people resonate with, people are looking for, and things like that. So, everything we do basically is based on data. Nothing we do is just, oh, that sounds cool, right? Or oh, yeah, oh, I know my nephew just graduated from college and he tells me, we should do this. We don't do that.
Right. And
so, trust me, we hear that a lot.
Well, exactly. And that's what I was about to say was like, it sounds funny until you're sitting across from somebody having that conversation, because it's exactly how they describe it. Like, yeah, we just thought, maybe we would try this kind of thing.
Yeah. And so, and for we do Google ad campaigns, we do paid ads on LinkedIn and Facebook and things like that. And so for these, we look obviously at other types of data, and every industry and every client is different, but it's mostly based on cost per conversion or cost per acquisition. This is the two KPIs that we tend to really focus on.
Gotcha. What's really strong right now for folks on the ad side and organic side right now, working especially in the B2B space?
Well, in the B2B space, LinkedIn has been an amazing tool, because you can do organic, type of work, which I just described. Mm-hmm. You can also really create, a very strong identity for your company by putting out the right type of content on LinkedIn and becoming a thought leader in your industry. And we do all of that for you, obviously, at Boomtime. But we, so LinkedIn's been a godsend for B2B companies, especially last year during the pandemic, because people couldn't go to trade shows. And we told them, look, think of LinkedIn as a virtual trade show. You're meeting people on LinkedIn, and we can help you with that, like you're meeting them and handing a business card at a trade show or a conference or something like that. So LinkedIn's great. The only thing on LinkedIn that we're not finding a lot of it's not only finding a lot of success, but it's expensive, is LinkedIn paid ads. Their system is, quite expensive from what we're finding out compared to what you can do on Facebook, what you can do on Google Ads. Google Ads work great. Same thing. But again, to me, it's and what we try to tell our clients is there's no more silver bullets in digital marketing, only a lot of lead bullets, right? But you have to know, what gun to use, right? What bullet to shoot, where to shoot at, and whatever. And it's this combination of, don't just think Google Ads, right? Think about Google Ads and some content generation and testing a lot of different things on Google Ads, looking at the numbers, looking at what it tells you, keeping track of your KPIs, your cost per conversion, cost per acquisition, and so on, right? And so it's it's content marketing is still really big. Email marketing still has one of the highest ROIs of any type of digital marketing after 20 plus years of doing email marketing, right? So there's always a new shiny object in digital marketing. Every month it sounds like there's a new platform, a new type of digital marketing, a new something else, right? But some of the tried and true stuff still works and works really well. Again, you have to look at the data and. But there's also our secret sauce is about finding, how identifying what works well with some other things and how you can create those packages. So, your ROI is actually the best way it can be.
Yeah. So utilizing Google Ads to maybe drive to a content marketing piece that gets people in, and finding that mm-hmm. Is it kind of what you're talking about, though, that right combination?
So, and instead of pushing your Google Ads, your people that you get from Google Ads, your clicks to your homepage, create a landing page, right? And that's, and on the landing page you have a capture form, to make sure that if you get someone there, that you get their name, you get their address, you can offer. There's all kinds of things that you can do that are content driven, that are you make sure you get at least their email address, so you can connect back with them via email. They can be part of your email list. So it's using all these different things, so lead capture tools and social media tools and paid ads and SEO too. I mean, you're talking about it. SEO still works really well. Thanks to Google for making it really hard to follow, but but it works.
Yeah.
We do a lot of SEO for our clients, and not just so technical SEO, and then on page, what we call on page SEO, which is all about content and keywords and ranking on specific keywords. And so there is like massive amounts of data out there that you can generate from tools like SEMrush or Moz or places like that. But so but it gets really complicated, right? And it gets really intricate, and it gets kind of daunting. And so that's why we do this, right? Our clients don't have to worry about that. We'll tell them what their we'll tell them why we are using a specific, writing specific articles for them, for instance, or doing specific videos for them. Not just because you say it's because in your industry, those are the keywords that resonate with your audience, and that's what you want to be found for. And this is why we're going to write about it. So anyway, so there is all kinds of maybe I'm making it sound even more complicated than it is here. But it is, it is complicated. And,
yeah, it is. And like, and you like it. I like it. Like, imagine the business owner trying to do their business and they don't want to even think about it, much less learn how to do it and all of that. Like, it's a tremendous service.
Yeah. Well, one of the major pain points we solve for our clients is that we do, as you said, we educate them. So first, they feel more comfortable that in getting into that kind of world. But we also we take care of all the heavy lifting, right? They don't have to worry about it. They just have to worry about looking at the numbers with us and making sure that we're on the right track.
Yeah, and I'm sure the dance is just enough education, right? Like, to not overwhelm them, not give them more than they even want to deal with, but just like, here's what we're doing. Keep them grounded and sort of like, have some geography. Like, okay, this is what we're doing. That's all I need. I'll see you later.
Yeah. No, but look, I think it's an interesting point because, marketing in a lot of ways is about storytelling, right? And so what I've been trying to get my team to understand is that we used to give our clients literally pages and I mean digital pages, right? But pages and pages of reports with just tables of numbers and graphs, right? Like, I'm like, nobody's going to read this, right? And I've been doing this for a long time. Trust me on this. And so what we do now is we basically write mini stories before we show any numbers. And then we have the numbers to back up the stories, right? But literally, it's like a paragraph, right? And we have 5 bullet points on every report at the top of the report that say, hey, this is what the numbers show this month, right?
That's so great.
Yeah.
That's so great because
it's
you can collect
for anybody, right? Especially for people that maybe have never looked at Google Analytics or Mailchimp data or things like that. It can be overwhelming, and we were not doing a very good job of telling stories again.
Yeah, because you can collect all the data in the world, but if you don't apply meaning to that data for yourself, then for the client, and doing it all these different ways, and then now what action do we take because of that? I hadn't thought about it in those terms. I love that approach to it. That here's a story about your data. Here you go. Here's what's going. And then of course it's almost like the bibliography, right? Like all the stuff in the back. Like like here's everything to the footnotes to back it all up.
Yeah, but this is and some of our clients would just look at the stories and be like, okay, cool, we're good. And some were like, oh, yeah, but why did you say this? Why did you write this story the way you did? And then we can go with them and look at, again, like pages of data. But that's critical to me. This kind of is part of education, right?
Yeah. Well, this brings about, another differentiator for you, for Boomtime, that you have is this Fuse system, right? I'm so impressed with this, both as a differentiator, but also the tool that it is to both internally and helping those clients both. Give us a little insight into exactly what this platform is.
Yeah, so Fuse it's a kind of a multi-tasking platform, and it touches a lot of things. So and we are rebuilding it as we speak, into something that has, it's going to be kind of like the next, we call it Fuse Plus for a good reason. But it's because we did a lot of strategy sessions with my team and I, but also, getting kind of client information in and whatever. And what we realized is that it's a great tool. It helps us do a really good job, but the visibility that our clients have into Fuse today is not quite where I want it. And I think if we pull the curtain back a little bit more, I think it would make them more comfortable. It would teach them more, and it would make us better partners to them, right? So Fuse does a lot of things. So it automates a lot of the kind of the more menial, if you want, or chore like kind of type of things that have to happen in marketing. But it doesn't do all of it itself, right? So for instance, it automates via API. So I hope I'm not being too jargony here, but it connects to MailChimp, for instance, and tells MailChimp, hey, send this to this target list at that time, right? It tracks all the data, all the analytics from MailChimp come back into Fuse so we can show them to our clients. So our clients have a small window today that's going to be opening up more into Fuse. And so they can see the status of their campaign or what part of their campaign they're at now. We're going to also expand that to basically have Fuse be a little bit more like a project management or kind of a campaign management system. So clients can say, I have to do this, I have to approve that, I have to approve that email, or I have to do something, right? Right now, there's already kind of an approval process, but it's more an internal one. Our clients have only a very small window of visibility into that. But gotcha. But also it automates a lot of things. It enables us to communicate stats and analytics back to our clients. Enables us to actually see for ourselves, but also for our clients, again, a little bit how where the campaign is at. But it's some of it is via connections to other existing software. Like we'll never be able to build Fuse into like something that does email marketing as well as MailChimp, right? So we connect to MailChimp, we connect to other software. We've embedded proprietary software into Fuse as well, that kind of make things much easier in terms of digital marketing.
Is it something that kind of brings everything together?
The efficiency and connection platform that delivers great marketing. That's kind of our 20-second, well, not even that, 10-second pitch. But everything we do goes with that, right? So, but it also helps us manage our business. So I can go into Fuse, see, we tie our billing system to Fuse. We tie, we track our time in Fuse, so I can see who's doing what, how much we're spending time-wise on each of our clients, and also at the product level, right? This package we have, we can identify some issues with it because we're spending way too much time on that, given what, it helps us price our services. It helps us with a lot of different things that are not just, outward facing, and are not necessarily just marketing, right? They are also, it ties to sales, it ties to our own capacity, time tracking, human resources. It's a very broad platform that does a lot of things, and basically our team lives in Fuse day in, day out.
Yeah, well, and I think we touched on this on the call a little bit too, that, to be able to have this, there's the ease of it all, have everything in one essential big platform, but also it becomes, cost efficient to go and build your own platform after a time when you've put together all the CRMs, all the marketing tools, all the reporting tools, all of this. Like, it's really a great thought process to go like, okay, well, for X amount of dollars, we can just build this thing and it's ours, instead of thousands per month on all these other tools.
Yeah, and since you mentioned CRM, that's one of the things that it does. So if we sell something, if we sell a new client, automatically Pipedrive sends a message to Fuse, creates an organization in Fuse, a client in Fuse, and we're off to the races, right? So everything is integrated, and it becomes this place that people spend a lot of time in. And our new Fuse Plus is going to be fully configurable and white labelable, if that's a word.
It is now.
Yeah, it is now. So we will probably about 12 months from now start selling Fuse to other companies or agencies that don't compete with us but can use it
that's great.
Kind of a SaaS product.
Oh yeah, that's strong. I like that. And it's such a great differentiator, which is a selling point once you do white label it. It's such a differentiator when you can talk to a client about Fuse and nobody else, they're not having the same conversation. They're not price comparing anybody else because they don't have this thing, in the entire system. I think it's super smart.
Yeah. So we have a ticketing system in Fuse too. So anybody who works in Fuse can say, hey, so we have marketing strategists, marketing specialists, kind of under them. Our strategists can say, hey, to assign a ticket, we need to do this for this client. Assign it to someone with a due date, and all of that. So we can track all of that too. Which helps us see. So it's I call it a diligence engine sometimes too, because we've spent a lot of time refining our processes to be as efficient as possible as a company, as an agency, and we embed that knowledge, those processes into Fuse. And Fuse, that's why I call it the diligence engine, and it helps us do the right thing at the right time, basically.
Because with that many moving parts to any agency, and you go beyond one client, and all of a sudden, it's just every client is exponential as far as tasks and what you have to keep up with.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah. So look, our most popular package is called Network, and it includes LinkedIn connection campaigns. It includes lead capture on the website. It includes email marketing, content generation. So you can see we already have like 4 or 5 major blocks, and under that there's also a ton of work, right? So this is what Fuse helps us. It's like make sure that we don't miss any of these steps. We do all these things kind of work together as efficiently and seamlessly as possible.
That's awesome. Well, this has been fantastic. Thanks for jumping on and sharing this with us and giving us a peek behind the curtain a little bit. Hopefully educating some folks here on this, and really just, for folks who love data, awesome. Here's some insights on how to use it, but also folks like me who, we kind of want to do this, but here's how you can do that a little bit and the importance of it. I love it. How do people find out more?
Boomtime.com, BOMTIME.com, or they can find me. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn myself. So I'm at linkedin.com/in/JP Clement. It's easy.
How can the audience help? How can I help? As far as like connecting you with folks, who do you want to link up with?
Yeah, no, look, I'm happy to link up with anybody, really. I mean, I spend a lot of time talking to people that are not going to become clients, and I know that, but I just, I'm always learning. I still think I have a lot to learn after 35 years of doing marketing, and so I'm happy to connect with anybody, talk. You can tell I'm pretty passionate about what I do. I'm happy to talk to anybody about this, but just put my name and Boomtime's names out there, and let's see what happens.
Name of the podcast. That's what I was going to ask. Which podcast?
We do different series. So we had a series about each of the 8 steps of the marketing or sales funnel. So we had a podcast called I can't remember. It was something about that marketing funnel. And we used to have one called word of mouth marketing, but we're kind of changing that to digital. So we have a typical digital, like a marketing campaign, but we do digital marketing podcasts. We also do podcasts about our client successes, where we really dig into one specific client with one of the strategists that worked on the client, and look at and kind of give a little bit more of our secret sauce. So we call it the Success Story Podcast. and so on. So yeah, we don't have really settled on the name, but we film all our podcasts there on YouTube.
JP, this has been a blast. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you all next time.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me. It was a great conversation.
Thanks so much for tuning in and being a part of this show. If you ever need help building out custom strategies for your business or deciding what actions to take next, head over to MediaLeadsCo.com and let's connect. I'll talk to you soon on the next Strategy and Action.